Okay, so first of all, I just want to say this is a long time coming.
Big long time coming, man.
You know, I don't know. Hey, yo,
Started off out the gate.
out the gate,
Out
like I'm
the
like, are you gonna do it? Am I gonna do it? Like I was the one who said it. I was waiting for you to check me, right?
came crazy. Oh,
Oh my god! All right, you know what? We done. We done here. Well, look, I just want to say I appreciate everyone who's taking their time out of their day or their night to listen to us. First, we can start out with some quick introductions. My name is Gatsby.
I'm none other than Royal Rel.
Okay, and you are watching State Your Claim. And this is something that Royal and I created. Been real tight for significant amount of years, and really we want to do is just come together and share our mindset, talk about things within the world of sneakers. You know, we love sneakers. You see all those boxes in my man's background right now. Fashion, but not just the consumption of it, but the stories behind it. You know, we're also going to talk a little music, right? So kind of things within the culture, and just make it fun and make it relevant. And just we want you all to leave having learned something, and we're not trying to take anyone down in the process of doing it. You know what I mean? So everything is going to have a real educational background to everything that we approach. So we're glad that you're here.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Yeah. So it's still the beginning of the year. How you feeling, man?
Feeling great.
2026.
Actually,
Yeah.
2026 has been good to me thus far,
Right. Yep.
So I'm just, I'm happy. We're here. We're doing this. This is the main thing I wanted to get started this year. So the fact that we're doing this and we're beginning this, I know everything else is going to fall in place for me in 2026. So, I'm elated about it.
For sure, man. And we got a lot of stuff that we working on as well. So this is just, the beginning, and I think you are gonna enjoy it. And I would just say that grow with us, right?
Absolutely.
Certainly, you know, holler at us, reach out to us, send us messages, topics that you all want to have discussed. We'd be more than happy to think about that and put it into this platform. State your claim.
Absolutely. Always drop us something in the comments. Always. We'll respond to you. You can catch us on IG. We'll throw all the tags and everything at names at the end of the podcast, but you wanna let them know how all this came about?
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So, I think one thing's for certain, people who know you and I, definitely out here in these streets, definitely I like to call it retail mania. We like to be in the boutiques, in the shops, seeing what, seeing what's new. But it's, the it's the relationships that you develop when you're in these spaces, right? It's kind of like back in the day when you had these sneaker lines that were lined up. I mean,
Facts.
it's amazing to get the shoe, but what ends up happening is you build these relationships in the line, right? Because you see the same people returning again and again every
Since,
other week.
since my teenage years.
Exactly. And then what happens is y'all become cool because you realize that you're into the same things, and then you start to help each other out. So, case in point, boom, how you and I met was over at Dover Street Market a couple years ago. And I want to give a shout out to our guy Van for really bringing us together. So, I would say my lens of the story happened because I kept seeing you for pretty much the same things that I was getting, you were also getting. So, so I'm
Right.
asking Van. I'm like, "Yo, Van, how come every time I come up in Dover Street, I'm seeing this guy? I'm like, who is he? And then Van told me like, okay, this is this is Royal here, da 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 da, you know, and he's one of my top guys or whatever. And it's funny because I said, he don't wear 10 and a half, 11, does he? He said, no, he doesn't, you know, and because, you know, that's the thing is like,
Yeah.
yo, like he ain't about to like, you know, take
Facts.
my size, you know what I mean, or whatever it is. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, it's all silly stuff, but I think really we just started showing up to the same stuff, and
Yeah,
all of a
facts.
sudden it was just that one day, right, where we just kind of connected. And I don't even know what the release was, why we were there, but
Nah,
I don't know.
we were every week at that point.
Yeah, it was getting kind of ugly. I remember you had on some like crazy Aleeks um shoes on, and I had never seen them before.
Oh, you know what? Oh, shout out to she
Yeah,
got those for me for my birthday a couple
that's
years
right.
ago.
That's right.
Yeah, she got me
Yeah,
those and she got me the jacket.
that's right.
Killer combo, bro. I can still
Killer,
back that out anytime.
killer combo. That's right. Because I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go up. You know, sometimes we'd be like on there,
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't want to ask somebody where they got from, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna just show them love. You know what I mean? It's all respect. And then you were like, yeah, I just got these for my birthday, and then shit. Ever since then, you know, it was on. I guess we went to a couple Fashion Week events. You know, I think we popped out to the Kids Super, you know, joint that was happening in the fall
we
of
did.
22, and
Yeah.
you know, Keem came out to that joint too, and we put that together. Um, and then I guess the rest is history, right?
Yeah, the rest is history. You know what? But you made a valid point that I think a lot of people should just do overall, especially in the whole scope of fashion, is put your ego to the side and give more compliments. Like, bro, if you're into fashion, anyone who's into fashion, I don't care who you are, you can lie to me in your face. People will say, no, no, I don't. If you're into fashion, you like compliments. I don't, it
Of
just
course,
is what it is.
of
You know,
course,
and we buy these pieces.
right?
So people who buy actual pieces, I'm not talking about t-shirts, people who buy pieces, we're buying conversation pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And like you hear people on all these different blogs, all these different, interview web pages and everything. They're like, hey, it's an unspoken conversation. Okay, cool. Well, you know that. So if you see someone in something that's nice, whether it's someone of the same sex, opposite sex, it's all right to be like, yo, where you get that from? Or that's cool. I like that. Like, it's cool. It's cool, man. We need
100%.
more of that. We
Right.
need more of that.
I
Spread the
agree.
love, man. Spread the love.
I agree. Because on the other side of that is a good partnership. It's a relationship that you can build. It could be a business relationship that someone could put you on to something. You know, I've even seen people get jobs off the strength of literally just meeting people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like to
right.
kind of build on your point is like, you know, we could all be just going there for the one thing, but we miss out on all these other opportunities
Right.
in the process,
Right.
right? So you could be copping a pair of shoes, but you could flip that and bounce that into a business venture, right? You know what I mean? You can end up working for the brand. I mean, you literally don't know. So yeah, definitely put that ego to the side, and you know, we got to just kind of get back to like the old days. You know what I mean? I know we're not trying to sound like we, you know, old and flabby, and we don't like anything new. You're gonna find out that we like a lot of new stuff. Um, but obviously, you know, we go back a little bit with this, so we also want to kind of put that into there. And it's funny that Dover Street Market is where we met, right? And anyone that really knows right about Dover is that the backbone of it is CDG, right?
Correct. Correct.
Comme des Garçons, and that's something that you and I both share a lot of love, and I think it's interesting, right? Because you know, just off the street, you know, if they looked at you, looked at me, they may not think that you know we are so into it,
Right.
but I would say that you know you and I, amongst others, right? It's not just us, but we some true CD geniuses. You know what I mean? In the
Absolutely.
process, and you know, this first episode, we really want to dedicate it to our love and appreciation for CDG, everything that it represents, but really tying it back into sneakers because they've had some amazing, you know, collaborations over the years. Again, part of the reason why, you know, we keep showing up time and time again. Hey man, you
Yeah.
gonna get them or you gonna wait until they go on sale? I don't think those are gonna go on sale. That's not a good look. Don't wait for them to go. You know, all that kind of stuff, right?
So, that's definitely what brought us here. I personally, I think you've had me beat lately. But at one point, I was buying almost every CDG Nike drop, but you got me beat lately. A couple of the latest ones, I've been like, I'll wait
Yeah,
on it.
you've
I
been.
might go pick up the Rejuvenates though. I ain't gonna lie.
I knew, but you were smart to wait though. I didn't want to wait.
Yeah, you don't want to wait sometimes. I knew to wait on those, but I could have waited. I could have waited on the senses,
Mm,
but I don't. I got the pink, so I don't know. The pink is probably somewhere floating around, but Dover doesn't have the pink.
no, they don't. They
Yeah,
don't.
so I just grabbed those immediately. So
Nah, those flew. You did right by that. Looking back at it, I probably should have, copped the pinks. I mean, I already, you're gonna step outside in the springtime, and I'm gonna be like, damn, because I've been looking online for them, and they're not easy to come by, and that's the one thing about Comme kicks, right? It's like either you like them or you don't.
yeah,
They go on, so they release kind of pricey, kind of expensive. Let's call it what it is. It's typical for a sneaker collaboration. Then sometimes they go on sale. Once they sold out off a sale, it's hard to really negotiate with people on the secondary market because a lot of times people who bought those actually bought them for the reason to wear,
right,
right? They're not doing a whole bunch of flipping outside of maybe like a Foamposite, a CDG Foamposite or something like that.
right. And another thing is that actually shout out to Angelo. That Angelo mentioned to me.
Mm,
He was like, "Yo, when's the last time you saw CDG do a pink sneaker?" So I was like, he was like, it's like the Air Max 180s. So I was
right.
like, yeah, you got a point.
Yeah.
So, but he was like, I really don't know how to do them. I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. So, me personally, I think that's a shorts shoe. You got to wear that with shorts. It's like
100%.
I I wore them with pants. Well, I tried them on with pants. It wasn't really working for me. Shorts,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it at
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Certain shoes kind of have to just stand out on their own.
Right.
And you could say the same thing about the 180s. You know what I mean? Those look immaculate with shorts in the spring, summertime.
Woo. Need a retro on those.
Whoa. Whoa, that'd be crazy. And it's crazy because I think they had those at Market,
They did.
but
I
they
missed
just
out. I missed out.
same. You know,
They did though.
if you were part of the media night, then you could probably get them, but we're not there yet. But we're gonna get there though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
What?
Next go round. Next go round for sure.
Yeah. So that's really how we came together. Anything else on that I might be missing out on?
Nah, you hit it. You pinned the tail on the donkey with that one.
All right. Well, that's what's up. And yeah, really what we want to do with this episode, we're going to kind of break this out in a couple of different phases. Obviously, we're going to talk about things along the line of CDG. We're going to give you a brief kind of overview of history, some important things that we think that you all should know that maybe you do or don't know. Then what we're going to do is really dive into some of the best Comme collabs, sneaker-wise, over the years. It's things that you've enjoyed. Maybe we own them, maybe we don't. We missed out on them. And then we're going to wrap it up with a couple things. Most notably, talking about what are the CDG sneaker collabs, shoe collabs that we want to see in the future that haven't come out yet. And I'm telling you all, I don't know Royal's list, his top five. He doesn't know mine. He may think that he knows, and I'm sure there's gonna be some crossing. You know what I mean on this, which I'm really interested to see how it all goes down. But
I want to.
so
I want to make just one prediction.
okay,
I feel as though. Remember, people. We don't know each other's lists. We kept
nah,
this secret. Um, I think. I'm just taking a guess here. I feel like your one is my two.
wow. So then I want to, if that's the case, I want to know what your one is. I
We're
know
gonna get there, but I
you
think
already know you.
if your one is what I'm thinking, it's my two. And then if you're thinking what my two is, that it's probably your one, then now you're really like, yo, what is his number one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll say this: my number one. It's been a while since it's been back in the marketplace. That's all I'm gonna
That's
say.
all I know what it is. I feel like I know what it is.
That's
Yo,
all.
but my number one, it's you're not thinking it, but once I tell you what it is, you're gonna be like
Yeah, I'm
it's gonna be
probably.
one of those moments.
See, that's like if we were rappers, right? I do my verse. I'm thinking them it's straight heat. I send to you, and then I hear what you laid down. I'm like, damn, I got to redo my verse again. I already know how I'm gonna feel, but you know, it's already it's already done. It's already done now. So we gotta just go forward with this. All right, okay. So just a couple things that I think people should know and become knowledgeable about CDG just off the rip. Founder, shout out to Ray Kawakuba, right? The general, the founder of Comme des Garçons. So the brand was founded in 1969. Most people don't know that the name she actually found from a song that she liked, a French song from 1964, and one of the lyrics of this French pop song said "like the boys," right? So Comme des Garçons obviously meaning like the boys, and I think Ray is really interesting because here she is, a designer in Japan, really creating this avant-garde look that
Right.
is just vastly different from everything going on at the time,
Absolutely.
right? So you think about what is acceptable in the 60s in terms of dressing, right? The usage of color. She just went straight left, right? She just went complete opposite, all black, dresses in all black, dresses that are perhaps undone, different pieces that people wouldn't agree with. So I think, from the jump, she had this kind of rebellious, mindset about her, right? So obviously that's important. Number two, you know, she, is not a trained designer, right? She actually worked for an advertising, company specializing in textiles. And the only reason why she got into fashion is she wanted to properly market, some of the textiles that she had, and she started making them into clothing. And then someone tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you know what? You ought to give this fashion thing a go." And I think that's what really inspired her to start, creating, some of these pieces and obviously start to do her own showings and whatnot. One of the other things, Royal, that I want to bring up, and I know you and I, we talk about this all the time, is that unlike a lot of other, really important fashion brands, CDG, they are independently owned to this day, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
What does that mean to you? You know what I mean? When you hear that juxtaposed, up against some of these other brands that are VC backed and all that.
Um, when I think about independent owned,
Mm-hmm.
bro, it's only one thing that comes to mind: creative freedom. You
Mm.
know, just being able to be yourself on all levels, never having to compromise who you are, your integrity, never having to compromise your ideas. Like, that's so important at so many levels. Like, I think, Rick Owens would be another example of someone who I feel is just never compromised. But CDG is never compromised. And, Ray has created this whole CDG, I don't even want to say world, this whole CDG universe, and none of the ideas are compromised. Like, when I pick up the pieces, the CDG pieces, and I look at them, they're so well crafted. I've never had a quality problem. So many people, I see so many people talking about they have, quality problems with so many different brands nowadays. I can personally say I've never had a problem with CDG.
Same.
As far as the quality, it's made in Japan. The Japanese are meticulous at all levels. Everything they do, they put their heart and soul at it. They don't cut corners. And, I always respect them for that. They're true craftsmen, and they exemplify what craftsmanship is. And you know, all of that just exudes through CDG, because when you just see it, it's like, if I want to make something, I'm gonna make it, and that's what they do. I'm gonna make it. I want to make it, so I'm gonna make it, and they make it, and you know, that's that.
And that's it. And they don't have to answer to anybody either.
Nope, nobody.
Things get real tricky when you got to report to, Wall Street. You know what I mean? You have to have specific earnings every single year, and of course, I mean, they're a business like everyone else is, right? So they have their projections. I'm sure that Ray and Adrian are looking to meet, right? But we know that the integrity is never compromised, because again, she just marches to the beat of her own drum, and has done that since the beginning. So yeah, so obviously, I think it's a big piece of them being independent. You see that in terms of the clothes, and they can take more risks. You know what I mean? Just point blank, period. And we kind of bring it back to full circle. We talk about Dover Street Market.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. A lot of people still don't know that it is the foundation is Comme, right?
Yeah,
So
no clue.
no clue. So for and look, we're not trying to like stun on anyone, because we know some people listening may not live in some of these major markets where they can go into your DSM store, but just know that every floor strategically you're gonna have Comme, kind of sprinkled in everywhere. And I think that's what's cool, very imaginative. And you look at the fact that CDG is really this umbrella, right? So they have about 18 different brands. And when I think of them, I say that, they're on the same type of level as a Polo is. Polo has Purple Label, has Polo Sport, fragrances, you name it. CDG is right there, with the best, with the greats over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, goes to show, like, I mean, right now, I don't know if you can really see it, This is one of their sub labels. This is ERL, as you can see clearly, you have on a DSM shirt,
Right. Fugazi collab. Yep.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. A lot of collabs, like, they got it. They have the business down. I will give them that. They got it down to a science.
100%, 100%. And from that business aspect, Ray's husband, Adrian, right? He is that business partner, right? That keeps Dover Street running. So if you think about DSM London, which was the first one founded in 2004, have LA, obviously New York, all across the globe. I mean, essentially Dover Street, those sales, them partnering with all these different brands, them inviting them, number one, to be a part of the incubator program, like an ERL, for example, or the other brands they sell. I mean, they're using that revenue and they funnel that back in to their brand, which allows them to take, some of those risks. So I think it's like this a really interesting business model. And I think that's something that we can all learn, right? Moving forward and how we build our kind of infrastructures out. So
No, definitely. They're the blueprint. If people choose to seek them out, they are definitely a blueprint.
right, absolutely. And then one final thing I will say as far as CDG is some of your favorite designers, right, were affiliated with Comme from the beginning, right? So, you think of Sakai, Chitos Abe. She was a seamstress, who was a part of the CDG umbrella for several years. Went on to do great things, and she worked under Junior, I want to say, as well. And a lot of other, really important designers, came from that CDG, family, and go on to do great things, as you mentioned, whether it's, through Dover Street or through CDG, directly. You think of ERL, we're thinking of, a lot of different brands. Sky High, is another one that's made a lot of moves over the past couple of years. But, they really influence not only like what you see in the marketplace today, but there's got tentacles all over the fashion space. So I think it's pretty dope.
One thing I do want to add to that is, because we're, over the past, Margella's definitely been doing it since the beginning. But I think over the past decade, like, deconstruction has become very popular. And I just want to say, even though you hit upon it just a tad bit earlier, I just want to say, like, she's been doing this for over 40 years. Over
Crazy.
50 years she's been doing deconstruction.
Crazy.
You know, she pioneered deconstruction basically. So
She did that.
modern, I guess we could say modern deconstruction. She pioneered it. So, you know,
100%.
it's just crazy that she took that idea and turned it into an empire. So, you know,
Right.
definitely
And
want to salute her for that.
yeah, man. Salute to her. You'd be hard pressed to try to find an interview with her speaking.
Oh yeah, her. It's a couple of people in fashion. I'm not gonna lie. If you didn't, if I was there, I'd probably be the same way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we live in a podcast era, so here we are.
Here we are. Here we are stating our claim.
Right.
Here we are stating our claim, man. But yeah, anything else that you want to add on, or maybe that I didn't cover as far as like the importance of CDG of Comme, all the above.
You basically touched upon the black, but I would say, you know, you said that, but like I said, her, and then this is if you know, you know, if you don't, you don't. But you know, we'll enlighten people. Her and Yoji Yamamoto, you know, who was an old love of hers,
Yep.
basically ushered in and pioneered this whole black clothing movement, you know. And one thing, you're going to hear me repeat this as long as we're doing this podcast. I'm going to repeat this over and over and over and over. So you might as well get this drilled in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I love black on black clothes. And, you know, I always tell people, if you want to take a fashion risk and you're scared that it might not work for you, just buy it in black. And 9 out of 10 times it'll work. Like if you want to do something completely funky, but you're like, I don't know. So you may see that piece and I don't know, hot pink, and you're like, I don't think I can do that. Well, see if you can find that piece in black.
Black.
The same exact piece, and you'll still be able to pull it off. I feel like, you know, it'll be a little bit more welcoming. And, you know, her and Yoji, like just the black on black and the silhouettes, and, you know, that just, the way they did that, especially in the 80s, astounding. You know, they
Right.
opened up the whole door for that.
Right. Right.
That's
And
really,
yeah, you're right. I think 1981 was her first showing, right, at Paris Fashion Week, and obviously Yoji was a part of that. I believe it was the Crows, right, which is a common theme within CDG's, one of their first collections. Obviously that all black. Again, initially it wasn't received well, but typically in fashion, you know what I mean.
never is.
It never is, right? And then years later, they're like, wow, like why didn't we think of this, right? But then you got people copying and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you try to invest in brands that are not going to be stepped on, and CDG is definitely one of them. Okay, so we kind of brought you through a brief, kind of rundown history of CDG, but I definitely would encourage you all to go and do your own research. You know what I mean? Like the information's out there for you. Definitely learn something. But tonight, really what we wanted to do was really dive into our love of Comme kicks. You got a crazy collection, so do I. We go back and forth. And I'm just kind of curious. Like over the years, they've collabed obviously heavily with Nike, with other brands. What would you say, in your opinion, are some of the standout releases over the years? Like, in your mind.
Okay, I want to try to like mix it up. I don't want to just Nike you, Nike you, Nike
Right.
you.
Right.
I would say something that's recent that was a standout to me was their Hoka sandals. Those were crazy.
Mm.
You know, I I was like, yo, this is dope.
You own those? You own them?
I don't. I actually
Okay.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was. I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, people, I have bills.
Me too. Me too.
I'm trying to think of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Why I didn't get those? I'm trying to think. I don't know. Something else had to come out at the same time or something. So I can't remember. Those were dope. I like the recent CDG shirt times Asics that they came out with. The ones and they actually had the matching button ups. That was dope. We had plenty of classics. The transparent dunk mids, those see through, whatever you want to, crazy.
Crazy.
Those are crazy.
Crazy.
What's another one that I fell in love with? The Shocks. I own those. I own the Shocks. The Shocks were crazy. And a little story. I actually sourced because this is a women's shoe, by the way. I sourced the only size 13 in the United States. I got it from my homie. So I got that from him. He wanted a pair. He wanted a pair bad. So I got mine on release day, as we usually do. Actually, I think I got mine a couple days before release. We normally get them early or on the exact day.
Yep.
And he got his a month later, but he got the only 13. That was at a Dover store.
That's crazy. That's a hard pull because if you think about it, that shoe dropped in 2019, and this was still before they opened up the sizing on a women's standard release, right? Because typically we know that the largest size is a women's 12, which is a men's 10 and a half.
Yep.
And during those times, like they may have one or two. I mean, good luck.
Shout out to Jonah. Jonah actually got those shipped for me from Japan.
Jonah.
Yeah.
Wow,
he got those
throwback name.
From Japan. That's a fact.
Yeah. Shout out to Jonah, man.
My boy doesn't really even know what's going on with that, but whatever. He got him.
Yeah.
Another CDG. All right. We're talking so much about what we love. I'm going to tell you one that I didn't love. I didn't like the Air Force One lows. I didn't not the Supreme ones. I didn't like the ones with the I call them the sandbox toys. The sandbox toy on the front.
You didn't like those?
I didn't like those, bro.
See, you like the only person who says that because it's just held in such like high regard. I feel like for a lot of people.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, because it's rare. Sometimes we got to get over ourselves. Just because something's rare, that doesn't mean that aesthetically it's that deal, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like you miss out on something, it's limited, and now everyone wants it, but they had no intentions on putting it on in the first place, right? So,
bro, like that shoe is literally a regular. It's not even premium leather. It's a regular pair of ups that you go, just a regular pair of ups. When you go to the beach and you put the toy on the sand and it makes the shape.
Right.
They literally took that, drilled it into the toe area, plain pair of ups.
Right.
Say, here you go.
Right.
I'm not jacking those. I never cared for that shoe. That's just me. I never cared for that. I know so many people hear me. I love CDG. I love CDG. I ain't like those.
You didn't like those.
I wasn't jacking those. I do like some of the Vans that they put out. I like some of the New Balance. Sometimes, a lot of times when they do the New Balance, it's normally through Junior.
Right.
And sometimes, I'm American at the end of the day. Some of that stuff is just a little bit too Japanese for me. Like, like some of the silhouettes that he chooses with New Balance, it might work in Japan. But,
of course.
But, in America, and then especially for me, with what I own, it just won't work for me. So, but I do like some of the New Balance. I'm not going to say specifically which models. I'm not going to break down the models. But, I'm like 50-50 on the New Balance collabs.
Yeah. I mean, they're really muted. And you're right. Junior definitely, it always seems like he has some type of hand into him, right? So whether it's a CDG Ohm, right, which is a line that Junior, produces, from start to finish. By the way, for those who didn't know, in addition to his own label, Junior Watanabe, underneath there. But yeah, I would agree with you on there. I mean, I think it's just like you have to have an acquired taste for some of those.
All right, now hopefully,
you
get her name correct.
Okay.
Noriki Niyomiya.
Yep, you did a good job.
Her Reeboks.
I knew you were going there.
Yo, they might be they might, yo, they're women's only.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're open for everyone to wear, but like
Yeah,
me personally, I'm not gonna put
yeah,
them on, but I
yeah.
respect them. I respect anyone who puts them on.
They're very feminine. They're not
Yeah.
something that that I could pull off. I'll just leave it
Mm-hmm.
at that.
Mm-hmm.
But those might be outside of like the Nike collabs that people hold as grails. In my personal opinions, those might be some of the best, because that's the CDG label.
Mm-hmm.
That might be some of the best work that, like the flowers come off of the shoes. Bro, they inspired, I'll say this, they inspired one of the shoes that I think should be on my list just by seeing what she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they inspired one of the shoes on my list.
Yeah. And what's so crazy is, what she did with that Insta pump is like, this that whole platform element, you know what I mean? Something that you just don't see. Yeah, it's so many like crazy details on that particular model. I mean, I remember seeing them and they were going for the high. I want to say that they retail maybe between like 550 and 6, and they sold out within 2 days.
Yo, and you're gonna hear her name a lot too. She has a pair. I'm gonna tell you this. You don't see those, you don't see that shoe in a while. You don't see it in a while. I, I she's the I've seen two people. I saw her and I saw this other Asian lady in Dover with it. Outside of that, I have not seen a pair in a while. It's a shoe that you just don't see in a while. Just
Nah, you're right. I mean, and I think it's for a number of reasons. Obviously, the shoe's releasing all the time, number one. So it's just hard to keep up with everything. Um, but also, like, you're not gonna find these shoes everywhere either. I mean, that's the other thing with all these collabs that we're talking about. It's literally through DSM, or you can go to your local CDG store, which you got only but a couple, you know, uh, here in the States, and it's just kind of difficult. And then you got to go online to get them, or try and get them in the secondary market. So yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense that you haven't seen those too often in the wild.
I think they did slut out. I think they did slut out a few of the I can't say a few. Recently, I feel like they've been slutting out the Nike collabs, and people see the retail price on them, and they're like, eh.
They run
So
away.
they run away, so they end up going on sale. But it's still not as many of them as you think. But I was happy that when they did the Olympics,
Yup. The cat eyes.
Foamposite, when they did
Yup.
that, they only had them at DSM. I was happy that they did that.
Me too. Me
You
too.
know,
And I think that was a good flip. That shoe, I feel like they literally executed on everything that was great with the first, CDG Foamposite collab, but they just made it better, right? Because most of the feedback that people that I've heard for those, that the first set, the Summit White and then the Triple Black, they actually run a little snug, right? They actually don't fit like your normal Foamposite. At least that's the feedback that I got. So
yeah,
a lot.
they hurt my feet.
Right. I think they hurt everyone's feet. I feel like everyone wishes they went a half size up. If you could do it all over again, if you're 10 and a half, you probably would want to go to 11. If you were 9 and a half, you probably want to go to 10 or whatever. But man, we wore them joints, religiously. But you're right though, because that shoe, I want to say it was on End. You know what I mean? It was on Essence.
Right.
Shout out to some other major, sneaker boutiques who I think should have got it that did. Shout out to Somewhere. They had both colorways. You know what I mean? See, Foamposite. We're not gonna get into this whole regional thing tonight, but we already know. We already know. We already
Yeah.
know the land of the foams. We already know where that
Here we
is.
go.
But here we go. That's gonna be another episode. I don't even want to do that
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah. Not tonight.
Not tonight, but yeah, I think you're right. They definitely didn't smut those shoes out. So you kind of named some ones that you like, that you didn't like. Obviously, CDG Foamposites, top tier for me. First time in the history where they changed the mold. I mean, who does that?
Hard.
Nike
Hard.
doesn't. Y'all have to understand. Nike just is not allowing people the runway to do major. When you look at a Nike collab, oftentimes they're like, "What color do you want? What coat of paint do you want on this Air Force One?" And there's a whole bunch of no's, no's, no's. You get maybe like a half of a yes.
Right.
I mean, the fact that they changed the entire mold, unbelievable.
Yo, when I first saw the actual, first we got the news, the word.
Mm-hmm.
When I actually saw the picture, I was like, oh my. And then then came the retail price and I was like, oh.
Oh, damn, right? Like,
And then you know what I did? I was like, I just reached in my wallet and I was just like, yo.
right. Yeah, you gotta just do one of these, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You gotta be Harold Miner, or no,
Right.
D Brown at the dunk
Yeah.
contest. Like,
Right.
just leave it up, and see what happens. Yeah, man, that was an ugly day for me because I caught both pairs.
I wasn't getting the white. I was,
Yeah. But I tell you, man, the white are clean in the summertime with some shorts, man. You just gotta wipe them down every time, though.
Yeah, I just don't like. Even though I know CDG part of the whole aesthetic is to get it dirty,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like how the middle, at one point the shoe is the outside is white and then
Yep.
the middle of the shoe is yellow.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's not the best look, but I haven't brought them out in a while. I probably need to look at them and see like how discolored they've already gotten. But yeah, no, definitely some bangers. And then, real quick, I'll just tell you some of things that I've enjoyed over the years. Definitely the Air Max 95 that dropped in 2019. 3 different
Classic.
colorways.
Classics.
Classic. Obviously, the Gradient, in my opinion, is the best colorway. That shoe retailed
Hands down.
for $350,
Hands down.
which
Got
is
me there,
crazy
too.
because they actually sat. See, that's the
Yeah, they
thing,
did. Yeah, they did.
right? People again with these comb kicks, people are a little afraid to like kind of jump out there, but that's okay. And honestly, I like that because you don't have to jump at everything. Like only go for what you actually like. But man, you try to get them on the secondary market, you're looking at a cool, smooth 1200 easily.
Yeah, they weren't hyped up. Like they weren't
No,
hyped up. The
no,
only recent comb shoes that were really hyped up were the foams. I don't know why I keep wanting to say flight positive. The
yeah,
foams are the only ones that were hyped up.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, those are superior. I mean, they got it all the way right. And I would just say, going back to the foams, that pull tab, for the Olympic foams with the kind of commemorating the medals, right? The bronze, silver, and gold. That's my favorite. That's actually my favorite part of the shoe.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's different. I like
It's
that.
different. It's different. You know what I mean? So I definitely love those. Obviously, the shocks. Look, we got to talk about this real quick because everyone, they want to hate on it. But the CDG Converse, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's my favorite, but it has to be studied.
Yo,
Has to be studied.
bro, those right there are diamond in the streets.
Diamond.
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 I personally don't care for them,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to sit up here and say they're not diamond in the streets. They're diamond.
Right. Right.
Like there was a point in time where, so let me tell you about Dover. Dover is one of those places where most of the people dress so, I'm just gonna say beautiful. Like the women and the men. Everyone in there dresses so beautiful that when you see someone in there regular, it's sort of kind of like, what are they in there to buy? Not like in a distasteful way, but you're like, I just wonder what brought them in here.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, for a couple years, it was the Converse play, Converse time play. Like that's what was bringing in here. Like you got to think, 2009
Mm.
when they dropped the first ones, and till now they're still selling.
They sell out.
They're still selling.
They sell out. There's people who will go to that third floor and ask for them, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we literally don't have them in stock. I remember I had a conversation with one of the managers over there. I'm like, yo, how many of these do you move? They're like, we literally can't even. They say on back order. so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
And it's like it's funny because that's kind of like the gateway drug, for
Hmm.
some into Comb. Kind of more of that. I mean, that's why it's play, right? Kind of more of that kind of fun line, a little bit more relaxed. But it definitely like brought two different worlds, and it didn't just go diamond in the streets and went diamond in the suburbs. There's people who literally can't even pronounce that brand, but they said, "I want the shoes with the hearts on it," right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what they call it, the shoe with the hearts on it.
Shoe with the hearts on it. So for people who want to shit on play, just know that play is probably the reason why you got into a lot of things that you got into. And also play actually funnels and finances a lot of other things that CDG comes out with.
You know the funny thing about play?
Mm.
For people, if you, all right, so to the average person, I'm talking about the people like, who aren't super duper into fashion.
Yeah.
If you say, yo, you like CDG? And they're like, yeah, I like CDG, the shit with the heart on it. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to say a lot of times.
Right. That's it.
They don't
Yeah.
really even know about Home. They don't even know about Home Plus. They don't know about CDG3. Like, that's what they know about. And they don't even know a lot of times that it's called play.
Right. Yeah. They have no idea.
So that's
Yeah.
definitely the most recognizable thing I would say by CDG.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So, we could really be at this all night on talking about some of like our legendary CDG models. But what I really want to do is find out what Royal's top five, right? And these are just dream scenarios, right? So, we don't obviously we don't work for the brand, but listen, CDG, if you want to hit us up, we've been more than happy to help cook up something, special for you
Absolutely.
all.
Absolutely.
We'll stop anything that we got going on to do that for sure. Um, but now what we're gonna get into is our list of dream CDG shoe collabs, right? So it could be a sneaker, hey, it could be a dress shoe, it could be a field boot, whatever it is. Now is where we kind of mentally cooked up and said like, yo, like this is what I like to see, and how we're gonna do this is we're gonna go 1-to-1, right? So
Uh-huh.
you'll give me your number five, right?
You want
Tell
to
me a
start it
little
off?
bit,
I bet.
right? And then I'll go, right? And then we'll go from there until we get to our number one. Is that good with you?
That's cool. It's great with me.
All
All
right,
right.
cool.
So
Yeah.
as we already said, CDG is a very avant-garde brand.
Yeah.
They taking risk or whatever. And I feel like this shoe, that's my number 5 shoe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this shoe took a risk. It was way ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like CDG, it fits in the whole CDG universe, like so perfect. And I don't think CDG or this brand knows it, but it fits so perfect. And I feel like they could take that shoe and do something remarkable with it. So, with that said, my number 5 shoe
Okay.
I would like to see CDG do is
Okay.
the Air Jordan 15. I
What?
think it fits too perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yo, it's
Yeah.
an avant-garde shoe.
Uh-huh.
They've already taken the Jordan 1. They've
Right.
added the bike, the biker chain strap to it.
With the tongue, the
The
super high tongue.
tongue.
Right.
And,
Right.
I feel like the 15 is it's like, that to me is like the prime or like the original avant-garde Jordan. And I feel like it just fits in the CDG universe. If you put out a 15 right now, I don't think the streets will really be jacking it. Like, I feel like it's a couple people who will go and grab it. But I feel like if you throw that in the CDG world, they'll look at that shoe and they'll be like, yo, I can do a lot with this. Just the way the tongue comes out, like you can have things fall over it how you want because people are big on it. You can pull the tabs on you can just do so much with that shoe. And while it looks ugly if you try to throw it on with a pair of regular jeans or you just want to go out here with shorts, but if
Right.
you put it next to that CDG, you throw it in that CDG world, it fits right in.
Fits
It's
right
like
in.
it's like the orphan child. It's like the orphan child that would just be that finds the perfect parents.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, it's funny you said that because the 15, obviously people have an idea on Jordans, and I don't agree with this, but a lot of people say, oh, I only do 1 through 14, right? Because those were the models that he played in his kind of legendary run.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I mean?
heyday. Yeah.
His heyday, notwithstanding what he wore when he was with the Wizards, but he still wore some heat when he was playing with the Wizards for those 2 seasons, right? So I get that, and you're right. That is kind of like that misfit Jordan, so to speak. I like that because you don't see a lot of commotion for it. I don't know that people really ask for it to be brought back. In different pockets, people do ask about that. Now, a couple of years ago, in kind of random, Billie Eilish had a Jordan 15
Yeah.
collab, right? You know, that's cool. Listen, Nike, they do a whole lot of research for what they're trying to get their point across. I wonder if they got what they wanted to get out of that. You know what I
I
mean?
doubt
But
it. I doubt it.
I doubt it too, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
story wasn't there, but I like that. I really like that. That's strong. That's strong. You already got me sitting on tilt. You already got me
Now,
sitting
now,
on tilt.
the
Okay.
ball
All
is
right.
in your hand. The ball is in your hand now, buddy.
Okay. All right. So for my number 5 shoe, I wanted to take it outside of what we would call performance, sneakers. So we're not talking Nike. We're not talking any of your usual suspects. And I'm thinking of shoes that stand the test of time. Shoes that literally have been embraced. And I didn't just say it, you said it, your friend said it, that this shoe could be worn in any difference, any type of setting, no matter the case. It's a designer shoe. And by the way, let me just take a step back. I don't wear a lot of designer sneakers, right? Because I feel like they aren't timeless,
Not at all.
right? They have the silhouette is cool for the time being. Everybody runs to them. They spend 1,200, 1,300 for the model, and then in 5 months they're like, "Damn, why'd I buy that? I
Hmm.
can't wear this with anything."
Nope.
Now they end up on Grailed for way below market value, and I just see people catching L's, and it's all because they just want to keep up with that trend. And I'm not mad at people doing the whole trend thing, right? Because we participated in that. I just think a lot of these silhouettes just are not good, and they're not
They're
made. They're
not.
not made with good technical quality. So I say all that to say, me personally, my number 5 collab is CDG Prada America's Cup.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good
Okay,
one. We got a glimpse of that with Adidas.
we
That's
did,
cool.
we did. But see, I want to see Ray's interpretation of it. Right?
Yeah,
This is a
I'll take.
shoe that you would say really exploded in the kind of mid like 2000s, right? You hear people say all the time like, "Yo, what's that one shoe that you go to the club in? You can go
Yeah,
to
that's
baby
that thing.
shower in.
Yeah,
You can go to the repassing." I mean, I didn't even seen people, which is crazy, try and like do athletics in that shoe, right? But it's
Gilbert Arenas.
Gilbert Arenas, right? It's the Pride of America's Cup, and now I think it's back in a major way. I don't think it really ever went anywhere, but you have people talking about the importance of it,
Yeah,
the
I like
history of
that.
it, the lineage of it, and that shoe was aged so well.
Yeah,
And you typically don't see CDG,
yeah.
collab with another like very high end designer, and like that shoe to me is like almost perfect. That shoe is almost perfect. If you're talking about a designer shoe,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to even think of another shoe that stood the test of time. And I just would love to see what Comme does with that. Do they go patent leather? Do they go all leather? Do they fully deconstruct the shoe? Are they gonna do one with the Velcro? Like, what would Ray do about that?
I think the Arshan Pradas is probably the closest thing we have to what you're talking about.
Right,
And that's
right,
probably only like 20% of what you even think that they would do with the shoe.
right, right.
No, that's yo, bro. You got me. I'm liking this. I'm liking
Hey
this. But
man,
question. Question.
I'm trying to. Your Jordan 15 was kind of wild though.
Your question: what would the retail be?
My, y'all not gonna like me. Y'all not gonna like me for
Oh
this.
man, what would the retail be?
I think that. I mean, the entry point has got to be probably like 850.
Eight. Damn, that's it. I was.
I entry. I would say
That's
between
it.
850 and a stat.
That's it. Oh, I had
I
it at.
mean,
I thought you was about to say like 13.
listen. There's a lot of different directions of where you can go with it. Because what do they retail for now?
The America's Cups. I'm not sure.
I mean, because that price is going up year
It
in and
goes up
year out.
year after year. Keeps going up every year. I
Like,
haven't bought a pair in years. I can't.
same.
Last time I checked, they was at 850. But hold up, let's go.
Yeah, check it out.
I did like those rubber ones. I did consider those rubber ones. Those were like
Rubber
7.
ones.
Retail. So
950.
that's why I said
Okay.
1300.
All right, then I'm off. I'm off. So yeah, I would say probably anywhere from 1,000 to probably 1,300. But I don't know the energy behind that. And again, Prada, they got it right. Like they didn't do anything wrong with it. I just want to see what CDG does with it. It's the same way
Right.
that I think the Air Max 95 is damn near a perfect shoe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But again, Ray and her group came in and just blew our minds with that, right?
Did.
You know what I mean? So me personally, I want to see high end designer come together and make something special. So my number 5 shoe is going to be the Pradas, the America Cup.
All right. So here we are for my
Yeah.
number 4 shoe.
Okay.
We have seen CDG, they've done a lot of Vans. And you said something to me earlier. You were like, "Yo, are we gonna do CDG home, or we gonna do CDG shirt, or we gonna do All right, I will hand this one over to either CDG3, even though they don't really make sneakers, or CDG shirt. This is a Vans sneaker, but I want to see what they would do with the Less Than Love Vans half cab.
That's
You
different.
know, we've
That's
seen,
different.
the half cab is like the loved distant cousin. The cousin that everyone loves, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone lives on the East Coast, and this cousin lives on the West Coast.
Right.
That's like the Vans half cab. Like it's loved. It's
Right.
just from a distance. But I would love to see what they would do with the half cab. And I think CDG shirt would be perfect for the half cab. We've gotten so many Vans from them. I think the half cab is just the one that they just need to throw in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have too much more to say about that, but
Yeah.
I think that's
No. I like where you're headed with that, and you're right. It's kind of like that family member that you don't see very often, but you got a lot of love and respect for. But it's just something different about it. And I'm looking at the half cab right now. You look at that Vans pantheon of like elite shoes. It definitely sticks out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? It's almost like back in the '90s. Like if you're talking about like Mercedes or BMW, you remember the wagons. You
yeah,
know what I
hell yeah.
mean? The Benz wagon just looked kind of crazy. You know what I mean? But kind of fly at the same time, kind of unique, kind of different. So Comme coming in and doing something like that, and not for nothing, Vans has a lot of momentum right now.
Yeah,
So I feel like that would be a timely type of collab to then bring on people to have interest in that particular model. We always think about you know the skate highs or
yeah.
right the
Authentic.
authentics,
Yeah.
right, things like that. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, what kind of material would you want to see on a half cab pro?
That's what I'm saying. I definitely want it. I definitely want it distressed or deconstructed.
Right.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
definitely want that. I
Yeah.
don't want them to just put a print on it like they've been doing with the Vans. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to actually like put something together on it, play with materials on it. I
Uh-huh.
wouldn't even mind if they played with colors on it. And I think that, Another thing I would add in there, I would like them to add the vibrant soul to it so that, it lasts.
100%.
So that it lasts.
Yep.
You know, Vans has recently did, so many collabs and stuff over the, pardon me, recently. Um, I would really want them to put some work in that and just not, you know, throw CDG all over and be like, here you go.
Right.
I actually
Right.
want them to, I want some fabric on this.
Right. Don't be lazy with it.
Yeah,
Don't be
not at
lazy
all.
with this.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. So number 4 is the Vans half cab. Okay. All right. So here we are. I'm about to list my number 4 shoe. All right. So it's funny, and I was getting a little worried that you were actually gonna say the shoe that I was gonna say, but now I know that you're not. But my number 4 shoe, and this is again going into skate culture. CDG has collab with Vans a lot. I think sometimes we forget that Vans was, the OG, so to speak, in terms of like skating shoes. Um, I'm thinking of a shoe or kind of like a brand, a sub brand that kind of could use a little bit of motion right now that I think is just a little watered down. The storytelling, in my opinion, isn't quite there what it used to be. We have different era of the boxes. Whether you're a pink box person,
Oh, you better not say my shoe.
but I think it's time for us to consider at number 4 the Nike SB CDG collab. What? Okay. No, no. I mean, so for me,
What
it
model?
has,
The dunk?
yeah, dunk. It has to be a dunk, and I want a high and a low. I want a pack. I want to pack, and the reason why I say that is, like the whole ethos of CDG is being different, not really being accepted, right? It's kind of anti-culture, right? If you think about skaters, you know what I mean, like they kind of always been off to the left doing their own thing. You know what I mean? Definitely like more of of a place where, we don't really want to be accepted. We just want to be ourselves. And I feel like that could be a really good partnership between, those two worlds coming together. Because not for nothing, I think that two of the most influential, you know, contributions to fashion is street style and is skate style, right? Like I mean, like real hood style. You know what I mean? Like real street style. And I feel like skaters, they never get the love for some of the fashion things that they've done, what it's been morphed into over the years. A lot of high fashion have taken, skate pieces and up the price $1,200, $1,300 for, said product that you can get for 65, 70. I would just love to see what Comme would do with that. Now they've done so much with the regular Nike Dunk. I feel like this would be a time where like they could tap into SB and really make something that's real crazy. So that's gonna be my number 4, but it's a pack, so it's kind of two shoes within one. But that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm
So
going with.
when are we supposed to do our honorable mentions at the end?
Yeah, we
We
were,
are,
but
right?
you can. I mean,
I'm
but
going to mention one of my honorable mentions. So one of my
okay.
honorable mentions, this should come at no surprise, is the
Mm-hmm.
P Rod one.
Uh,
But I just said that doesn't really,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, that doesn't really fit in the whole CDG thing. And I just didn't want to just throw that up there because,
For
people
that.
who know me know that's one of my favorite sneakers.
Yeah.
I just love that. I just love that shoe.
That's your
But
shoe.
now that you're talking about, Nike SB, that was one of my honorable mentions was the P Rod one, the Nike
Okay, the
SB.
P
So,
Rod one. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
you got the P Rods early. What last year when
Yeah.
they retro, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, that's my number 4. That's my number 4.
That was dope.
Yeah, I
Number
appreciate that.
number 3 for me.
Number
I
3.
touched upon this earlier. You know, I'm not going to elaborate on this one too much. So when I said Hurrah Ray Neo Mia, when I talked about her Reeboks, that was an Insta pump. So, the men's version to that would be, I'm sort of kind of over the Insta pumps and the Insta Furies. So I just said, let's just stick to the classic. So, I said the Reebok Omni Zone 2. But I want her to do it, you know, for the men and see what that looks like. I would
Interesting.
love to see what that looks like. It's not, I don't know what she could substitute for flowers, but just that whole idea of playing with pieces, how she pieced it together, turned it into an art piece. I would love to know what you could do with that shoe for men. So I had the Reebok, Omnizone 2 at number 3. And like I said, we don't really see outside of her, we really don't see that many Reebok CDG collabs. So I would love to see that, so.
That's crazy. You know, I'm just waiting for Reebok to really kind of get into that conversation. I know they've kind of gone through a lot of changes over the years in terms of like leadership, but that would be fire. I mean, listen, there's history there, right? In terms of, Comme already collabing with the brand, and that would be something different altogether. I like that. Okay.
I'm trying
All
to
right.
think.
Uh-huh.
What do I own? I own three. You know what? I actually own three sneakers from the Reebok times Margiela collection.
Crazy.
So, and I love all of them, and all of them still get wear. So, I would love for CDG to do something so that I could wear those just the same, show them the same amount of love.
That's
So
hard. That's
that's my
hard.
number three.
That's your number 3? Okay. Okay. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, man, they better hit you up for that one. They better hit my man Roy up for that one. That's all.
Please,
That's
please,
all.
please.
That's all I gotta say. Yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely, definitely. All right. So number 3 for you was the Reebok Omni. Now we get to my number 3. So this is a shoe, not a sneaker. Um, I would say that is firmly entrenched in street culture, hip hop culture.
Oh man, where we
Okay,
going?
they did a lot of hiring over the last couple of years, really to become relevant again
Oh man.
within the space. But I would say relevant from a mainstream perspective because they never really went anywhere, right? If you live on the East Coast, right, this was
Oh
just like
man.
you just had to have a pair of these.
Oh man.
You probably had them in different colorways, right? But we need some CDG Timberlands. That's what we need.
Damn.
That's what we need. That's what we need. That's what we need. And I don't just want to see a whole bunch of print put all over the shoe and you hike that joint up for $85,000 or you put it into some special like no. No. I want to see them actually come in. Hey yo, whatever you want to say right now. Let me just do that real quick. I want to see them. I want to see Ray. I want to see Junior. I want to see Junior do a Timberland. That's what I personally want to see. Which colorway? I don't know. They can create a whole new colorway for that matter. If it's black, it's black. If it's I don't know. I don't know Royal, but that's personally what I would like to see.
They gotta play with the fabric and everything.
Everything, right?
Yeah, they got the Louis. We've seen Louis. We've seen what's my man Samuel Ross?
Cold wall,
A Cold Wall.
right?
You know, we've seen A Life just did some recently.
Yup.
Um, we've seen shout out to Virgil, and I'm not even talking about Louis. I'm talking about the off white.
Mhm. Mhm.
What's the donut joints? The glazed donuts. What's Shorty's name? Vanita.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely.
We've seen so many, Awake. Well, I already said Awake, but
Yeah, right.
they've been doing those. Awake actually brought back. I can't even remember what that model is I have over there. I don't even feel like getting up to look at the box. They brought back some models too.
Yeah, yeah.
Stussy.
Stussy.
Stussy's got their hands on it. Supreme always has their hands on them.
Yup.
You know, shit, get in line.
That's what I'm saying. Like, We need those. We need
Absolutely.
those. Now, the campaign is really important with that shoe, in my opinion, because there's obviously like two different directions they could take it. You know what I mean? If they want to make it more like quintessential trail, they could do that. But there's a whole nother element. Like this is like kind of ruggedness, behind that. Like I'm thinking of, I'm just thinking like legendary moments, of people rocking Timbs. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yo, like, what would that look like if they had a pair of like Comme, CDG Timbs?
You and me both, bro.
Like
You and me
what would
both.
that look like if we were able to see like Prodigy and Havoc in them? I mean, like these are just things that are probably never go. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I feel like you really have to like tap into that culture. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, Timberland is a shoe that was made for one thing, and me personally, I feel like it's notoriety, and the reason why people wear it is for something completely different,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, what direction are you going to go in? Do you want to go more technical? Um, do you want to just make it, beautiful? Like, where do we come together on that shoe? I don't know, but that's just something that me personally, I would like to see. And I don't even wear Tims, these days, because I feel like they make my feet hurt. You know what I mean? But I
No, they
would
improved
definitely,
that. They improved that.
yeah, they did. I know. Um, but man, I would definitely be outside for those.
So, question. Um, what you're talking about? You want the 6 inch, right?
6 inch,
Classic.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, my fault, my fault. Yep.
Because I know
Hmm.
what you call recently, just previewed a pair of the boat shoes,
Oh, right.
Hiroshi. Hiroshi. So, we're going to see something with Fragment and Timberland soon, which is going to be
Hmm.
very interesting. Would
Hmm.
I cop that shoe? Nah. But it'll be interesting nevertheless.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a great one.
that's a
That
great
was a
one.
great one. That's a
Okay,
great
okay, yeah, man.
one. All right.
So
So,
so yeah, that's where we at. So far, we've each done our top three, or we've done 5, 4, and 3, right?
right.
Right. So listen, it's only two left.
So let me get to my number two.
Cook. What's up,
We
man?
talked about the shoe earlier. We said, yo, they did the Nike Foamposite.
Ah, 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 ah.
Yo, we said they did the
Yo,
Nike Foamposite.
I knew it.
They
Yeah,
they redid the mold. We've never seen
yeah,
anything like it before.
yeah, yeah.
Mind you, yo, CDG, you owe me like $1.75 because I overpaid for the black ones. Yes, I bought
Mm,
them at retail, but you
mm.
made me spend $600 on them after New York taxes.
Oh,
And then you double back and give me the Olympic ones for $150
oh,
less.
less.
Can I get some kickback?
Can you
But
get that?
anyways,
Yeah.
back to the matter at hand.
Oh boy.
I want them to take the shoe that everybody and their mother's been waiting for.
Yup.
You hear me? I
Yup.
want them to take the Nike Total Air Foamposite and give us a new mold and put the streets on its head.
Dog.
That's what I want. I
Dog.
don't even have to say anymore.
That's it. That's
Only
it.
thing I could say is we can either go with the clear air bubble or you can get funky and put CDG all over the air bubble. And I wouldn't be mad if you blacked out, whited out, or whatever the air bubble like you be doing, just so when you look at it, you know it's not your atypical total Foamposite.
Dog. Let me tell you something. That shoe, I mean, that shoe was beyond special. Like you said, everyone's been waiting for it. It's been this talked about. Hey, are they gonna drop them? How much is the retail gonna be? Now, the one thing we gotta think about, and here's the reason why Comme should do this. We already seen what they done with the Foamposite, right? You know what I mean? They taken this big bulky Nike basketball shoe and totally changed the entire conversation on it. I love that. I mean, you know how I feel.
Right.
That's that's literally my top. That's really my one of my favorite shoes of all time.
They brought foams back with those foams.
They did. I mean, definitely on the mainstream, right? Definitely on the mainstream. Definitely created that conversation again. Nah, there's only right. There's only right in what you said. It's only and you know the one thing I didn't think about is the air bubble, right? Like, do you make it clear? Do you black it out? Do they go like kind of like crazy graffiti all over the air bubble? That's something that they can do. So you asked me this question, Royal. You said, how much would a Prada CDG America's Cup collab cost? So I'm gonna ask you this question: how much does the Total Foamposite Max CDG collab cost?
680 retail.
680?
680.
That's
The
low.
total was 550.
That's what I'm saying.
So the total's 680 retail.
Okay, but
I
here's
thought of that right before you asked, right before you got out the last word, but that's my
okay.
number and I'm thinking.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yo, so I'm thinking something like that. Ooh, they gonna hate me. They gonna hate me. Y'all not gonna like me for this, but I think that shoe is probably pushing like probably 750.
I mean, I'm not mad at that because the rumors were that if they bring back the OGs right now, rumor is they be pushing like 455.
Right, because of the mold, right? Because you got to redo that mold,
Yeah.
and that mold is more substantial even than the regular Foamposite. Because
And the air bubble.
and the air bubble, it's just a bigger shoe.
Yeah.
Wow,
So, yeah.
wow,
So,
yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the 750. I'm not mad at all.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is, I've spoken to a couple people, who used to work for Nike, and they'll like ask, to be like, yo, like, do you think enough people would come outside for them? And I think the answer is yes.
Right.
I think the answer is yes. It's all about how you release that. It's how you release that shoe. It's very important. It's very important.
I 1,000% agree for you. Now, excuse me. In all honesty, do I think a lot of people come outside for that shoe? In the Northeast, Chicago, maybe Portland.
Just because, right?
I probably give it to Detroit.
Okay. That's
Like Boston. Like I said, well, Boston's included in the Northeast. I think from the DMV up on the East Coast, and the DMV up on the East Coast. I think Chicago. I think Detroit. Probably Flint, like parts of Michigan. I think Portland. To be honest with you, maybe Seattle. Outside of that, I don't really see people buying it. Cause I don't think like, do you really, like, on all honesty, do you really see people in Miami rocking that shoe?
No, I don't.
That's why I'm like, do you see people in tech? Like, I don't see, even though that's the original, it originally was made for a player in Texas. You know what I'm saying? We call them the Tim Duncans.
That's right, the Tim Duncan.
I don't,
Silver
but
joints. Yep.
I don't see people wearing them in Texas. Maybe it'll probably look great on, Victor Wembanyama's foot, but I really don't see people like in Texas wearing it. I don't see people wearing it in Cali.
Okay, so my fault to cut you off. I hear where you're going with this, but let's think about this. When before CDG did the Foamposite, did you see a lot of people in fashion wearing the foam?
No, you didn't see a lot of people in fashion wearing it, but the Foamposite was a sneaker that was, because of Penny initially, and then because everyone and their mother had it, it was a shoe that across the culture was universally loved. And it's a much easier shoe to wear than that Total Foamposite. Like, I seen that one podcast, I can't remember who it was, and I remember Omar from No Idea and Original was going back and forth with them, with the guys like, no one wants this big, bulky. People want this shoe.
Right.
You're just not from the town. You feel me?
Yeah. Right.
You're not from the East Coast. You're not,
Right.
you're not from the town. You're not from the DMV. You know, because I'm like everyone in New York had those shoes. Like I don't know what you thought. Like people had those. You know, basketball shoes is always a part of our culture.
Hmm.
The
Same.
DMV, you
DMV.
guys just mashing through all phone posits, everything.
Anything.
Phone posit,
Anything.
you
Anything.
know, you had that, like I said, Chicago be in tune with a lot, and they, a lot of people in Chicago do a lot. So I could see them rocking it. Detroit is hit with a lot. I could see them rocking it. So, I think it's a shoe that you don't flood everywhere, but you give to certain markets and you let them lead and let everyone else follow suit. That's how I feel with that shoe.
Right. Yo, I love that. I love that. I mean, that's top tier for me.
Go ahead, what's your
Perhaps,
number two?
perhaps we might hear about that shoe again. You know what I mean?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on it. I'm expecting it.
I, yeah. I know. I mean,
I called it. I said, yo, I feel like my number two
it's
is.
my number one. I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But nah, no wrongs in that. Would love to see it. Um, and just know, Comb and Nike, if y'all ever do that, me and Royal, we need our pairs early. We need our pairs early. Seriously, we need our pairs early. Please, please. Okay, yeah, that's it right there. All right, I'm gonna go to my.
Two.
Huh? You curious? For my
Hear
number
your
two?
number two. I gotta hear it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so my number two shoe. We're gonna get back to more kind of sneaker brands. Um, International brand, just always been entrenched within the culture from day one. Um, and when I mean culture outside of actual like sports performance, whether it was music, different genres of music, I
Hmm.
think was kind of ahead of its time, certainly in understanding what influencers were before they were ever influencers, understanding, street culture. We're talking Adidas. We're talking
Okay.
Adidas right now.
All right.
And I need to see a shell toe CDG collab. I need to see an Adidas Superstar 2 collab with CDG. Now, I did a lot of research. I have to this point, I don't believe that Combe has ever done a collab with Adidas before.
I have the. You know what's crazy? For my honorable mention, I have the Adidas Pro model.
Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
I'm,
So
I'm
we
digging it. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
digging it. I'm digging it. I'm digging your number two. I'm
I
digging
guess
it.
this, I guess this idea for you and I to have this state your claim
Yeah.
platform kind of making sense, man.
Yeah. Facts.
Kind of making sense.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just say this. Maybe here's some of the reasons why we haven't seen a shell toe collab, and it something that you brought up right when we were going through the history of CDG, and we talked about Ray and Yoji, right? Uh, from Y3. Obviously, Y3. You know that they have their collaboration, their ongoing partnership with
Right.
Adidas.
Right.
Um, you know, Ray and him have a lot of respect for each other. So maybe they never wanted to do what the other one had already accomplished, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah, that makes sense.
right, but me personally, I think where Adidas is at right now, they're trying to figure out how they can make the superstars irrelevant. Now they have the Superstar 2. I think they've done a great job with like making Stan Smiths important, throughout the years. I think they put a lot of energy in certain cities and certain markets for top 10. You've seen what they've done with new technology with Ultra Boost. But in their backyard, to me, their most important shoe is the shell toe.
Yeah, it is and it will always be.
Will always be. To me, the shell toe it mirrors the significance of what the Air Force One is. The only difference is, in my opinion, is that the shell toe Adidas, they early on they said no, we understand music culture, we understand, or we're curious to understand like what is hip hop culture, like what is that intersection. um you know we want to tap in with the misfits, right? The
Right.
people that aren't, accepted, right? Run DMC, X, Y, and Z. And obviously, why do they wear it? Because the people in the neighborhood were wearing that shit, right? And making that shit fresh, right? So it's always that. It's always that too, right?
Of course.
It's always that. Like, we got to have that conversation. And man, I would just love to see that kind of like avant-garde kind of twist on that shoe. It could, like, I don't know. I just personally, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
They've done it. Check out the Superstar remastered. Check it
In
out.
terms of, but that's not a Comme collab.
No, it's not. But I'm saying they
Right.
they went a little bit avant-garde with that.
Okay.
Yeah, they did.
I definitely
But would
need to
love
check
to
that
see
out.
What you talking? I would still love to see
Yeah.
them take on
Definitely.
a Superstar. Absolutely.
Definitely. And Adidas historically, they've always been the fashion forward sneaker brand.
They
In
did.
my
Like
opinion,
they did. Like
they live in it.
think about it. Think about it. Nike had Kanye, right? They had Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
They took on a music artist, and everyone saw what that did. And Adidas, then Jay-Z had Reebok, G Unit, whatever. I'm
Right,
not Jay-Z,
right.
but Reebok had G Unit, had Jay-Z, whatever. But Adidas really came and they were like, all right, I got something for y'all. Yo, Raph, yo, Rick,
Jeremy.
yo,
Jeremy.
yo, let me holler at y'all.
Right, let me holler at you real quick.
real quick.
Yeah.
They did that, and then Nike
Right.
looked like, hold up. All the people that Adidas was pulling in, Pharrell, Nigo, they like, hold on. Oh,
Right.
man, hold up. And then they started booking, and they started grabbing up more people because they was like, oh, that's the sauce right there.
Right.
Like, Adidas did that.
Right. They did.
so-
They did that. Right. Absolutely. So to your point, it's already within their DNA to do that.
All right.
And I don't know. Listen, I respect all these people who work at these brands, but I don't understand why the shell toe, I don't understand why that Superstar just isn't ingrained in our culture like an Air Forces or like some of these other models. They just seem to
Jordan.
kind of Jordan. They seem to kind of, yeah, you're right. Of course. I mean, that's the easy answer. The easy answer. But nowadays what we're seeing is that some of these classic silhouettes, if you really kind of reemerge that story, and tell it the right way, you can move some shoes. And I think we also kind of have to get away from like, oh, it's Run DMC and all that. Like we have to introduce like new collaborators and partners to that shoe. And I think like that would be a really dope way to move it. And yeah, man, I want to see a Superstar.
I mean, we got Hellstar coming up with it, so we're going to see what that does.
That's true. And Spider, right? They're doing
Spider, Spider,
Spider.
yeah.
And
So we'll see.
that shoe, I would say, is not for me, but I can see that doing some numbers. I think that's very smart. I think that's very smart for them to do. You know what I mean? I think that's very smart for them to do. So yeah, my number 2 would be the Adidas Superstar.
Well, here it is.
All right.
Here's the moment of truth.
It's your number 1.
I don't know if you're ready for this.
I'm not
is.
like, I have no idea where you going with this.
And my number 1 shoe that I would like to see CDG do is, you killed me, bro, Timberland.
Really? No. Yo, I just want to say,
man. Yeah, you killed me, bro.
I promise you all that we did not share, like, me and him talk every day. And the one thing that we agreed on is we were not sharing this list. So that's your number 1.
That's my number 1. The Timberland 6-inch. Come on, the water. Why would I not want to do a Timberland?
Yeah, right.
Like, come on.
Right.
Like,
Right.
oh man, hell yeah, that was my number 1. As soon as you said it, I was like, yo, let me just play along with him, I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
big facts, that was my number 1.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Come on, man. It's a Timberland. Why would come on, man?
I mean,
I got enough sneakers. As
Right.
it is. I had the 15, I had the Vans, I had the Reeboks, I had
Yup.
the Foamposite.
Yup.
Of course, I had to switch it up. I had the
Yeah.
like what? A CDG Timberland?
come
You
on.
shitting me? What?
Come on, man.
Yo, I'm going banoodles with that. Like, yo, nah, for sure I need that. That I need. With that said, I'll give you the floor for your number 1.
I mean, this is the worst kept secret This is the worst
Right.
kept secret, right? And your number two is my number one, right?
Oh
You,
man.
you know, and you know, it's been some time now, but you know, for a while I would like to post feature like a sneaker, right, on my page, and this is the only shoe that you've seen twice on there. It's the Total Foamposite Max. It's Tim Duncan's, right? That's it. That's it for me. Man, like I put so much faith in CDG. I mean, I don't know if they got to redo the mold. They got to redo the mold on them joints. In terms of costs, 680, 750. I
Right.
don't know, you name it. But to me, that's the shoe that I need as being the number one.
Yeah.
That's the shoe that I need to be number one. I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's just
your cartoon characters wearing them.
that's true. That's true.
Little Gatsby is wearing them.
Low Gatsby, Low Gatsby. That was really dope what your man did, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Shout
me,
out,
man.
shout out to him. But yeah, my number one, Total Foam Posit Max. Um, and again, like the campaign, the art direction, I would love to see like how they actually promote and market that shoe. I would love to see the people who they give it to, who they would seed it to. I would love to see like the storytelling behind it. Um, I would love to see that shoe come out, and this is controversial, but I kind of would like to see that shoe come out first, and then we back into the actual Tim Duncan, the silver joints. Now you all may not like that, right? Because most times with collaboration, right, we're talking like 24 months, from the time of like the creation of the idea.
Right.
On top of the fact that they have to redo the mold, come up with a price point,
Yeah, it's gonna be hell.
it's gonna be hell. Um, Man, like just for my area, you know what I mean? Like we need that. We need that. I mean, I can't even tell you what it meant to me personally for CDG to do a phone posit. It just it was like, nah, like we see you. We see you. You know
Right.
what I mean? We understand the relevance, like the work that, certain markets, the DMV, Philly, Baltimore, New York, have put in sweat equity and just asking for that shoe. You know what I mean? And I think we need that Total Foam Posit Max. Point blank, period.
Absolutely. If you give him a second, I just want to throw the list up on the screen so people can
Okay.
just see what our things
Right.
are. So
Right.
here you are. Take a little look.
Oh, that's a lot of crossover. I didn't expect this.
You did. Me neither. You shocked me.
Yeah. And
All right, so they just see it. You caught me, man. You caught me. I was
hey
like, when
man,
you said that with number three, I said,
dog. All right, we're going to have some real conversations with some people. I know they I know the people going to be watching this episode. People going to find this.
yeah, they are absolutely. Any honorable mentions? I already mentioned one. Well, actually, I mentioned two of it, so I'm gonna just go ahead and mention my last one. I have three.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
had the P Rod one, what I spoke on.
Mhm.
I had the Adidas Pro Model. My other one was the Nike Air Terra Certic.
Mm.
I love that shoe, and little story about that shoe. So, I actually went in. I went inside a sneaker store. My my mom's was gonna cop me a pair of sneakers. I didn't go in there for those, and I went in the sneaker store, and it was the OG blue model with the yellow laces. And I
Mhm.
just was like, mind you, I ain't got probably just back in the day when we just wearing anything, we match, but
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't really have much to go with that. I had to figure it out.
Uh-huh.
But you want those? And I'm like, they were just calling me. I was like, yeah, I want those. Whatever. So what I ended up doing, because I went to private school, so what I ended up doing, Catholic school, so what I ended up doing was, we got to wear the khakis. So I think I might have wore them. I might have had maybe like one or two fits to wear those in the hood with, but for the most of the time, I was just backing those out at school or whatever.
Mm.
They let us rock out with the sneakers.
Right.
I
Right.
was
Yep.
just, I was just wearing those with those. But yeah, I love that shoe. I would love to see what CDG would do. It's the ACG. They've done a couple of ACGs, But I would love to see what they did with the Certig. And I remember a couple people was like, "Yo, them shoes is ugly," blah blah blah. And then Streets is Watching comes out. Jay-Z drops It's All Right. And then I'm playing the video with all my friends, like, "See, he got him on. He got him on. Got him on." Hit him with that.
Hit them with that.
Yeah,
I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a game within the game type of shoe. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
You're going to have people doing their Googles. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they need to.
They need to. You better ask Jeeves. You better ask somebody about that one.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Honorable mention for me. This is not nearly as cool and sexy, but I'm thinking about something that I think has been embraced well. New technology, a new model that has been really embraced. I say the Nike Von Mero Plus. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
own
aware
a
of that.
I don't own a pair of those shoes, but I just think that it fits in well with what's happening, right? We're talking about a chunky silhouette, a wide silhouette. Everyone is into comfort, right? There's people who are saying, "Oh, I don't wear this shoe. I don't wear that. I only want to wear this because my feet are walking on clouds." So yeah, like the Nike Vomero Plus over the last year or so, I think that's really been embraced. Certain colorways have sold out, just like these brands do. Unfortunately, they release way too many colorways
I think
of every model. But yeah,
I think we would have to revisit that shoe and maybe like, excuse me, I think maybe in like 10 years
mm-hmm,
for CDG to do it. The reason I say that is because it seems like with running shoes, like a lot of running shoes just die fast and then years later they pick back up. Like, in all honesty, would you buy a CDG Vapor Max right now?
no, because them shits hurt.
The Vomeros don't hurt, but I'm just talking about aesthetically, like,
When you said Vapor Max, so I'm like, just off the strength, like I wouldn't, I
you
wouldn't,
know.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't
But
do it.
that was like the hot, that was hot
Right,
for a second.
right.
And it's like, you
Yeah,
know,
it didn't age well. It didn't age well. You're right.
like the Vomero Plus, I think, I, I don't know if it's going to age well because you got to see what they come out with next year because, they're steadily making Vomeros.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a running shoe, so they're always building upon it, building upon it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I said maybe, but it has that chunky sole that I feel once again fits in the CDG universe. So I feel like maybe, maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe 5 years from now, they could rehash it, and that's that.
No,
But right
that's
now, I'm like, if they came out with it right now, I'd be like, eh.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel you on that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of something that's a little bit more mainstream, something that
Yeah.
you probably could see, a mother, right? You know
No,
what I
definitely, I
mean?
could see it. I could
Along
definitely see it. Yeah.
along with the,
All right.
someone in their 20s, right? The,
All right.
you know,
So,
corporate
right.
people,
All right. So, sticking to what you're saying, but meeting you halfway. What if they brought it out right now, but it was like a DSM collab because DSM is popular for doing that,
Right, right.
like they did with matter of fact, like they did with the original Vomero.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. So
That I didn't like. That I didn't like, by the way. I mean, listen,
I
I
didn't
like the
like
all
those.
black shoe, but I'm like, we're gonna talk about this because we definitely like Dover Street Market. But I feel like their sneaker collabs, I want them to have the same level of intention. Excuse me, that Combe has with them. I feel like sometimes they just put the logo on them,
Yeah, they
right?
did that with those. They just slapped the logo on
It's
those,
not the
added a
logo
little
on
bit of 3M, and said, "Here you go." And I'm
Here
like,
you go. I'm like, nah,
yeah,
like, you're when you're really into this retail mania, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you see so much, so you kind of know, okay, like, nah, I don't need to get these.
exactly.
So I would hope that DSM wouldn't do it because I feel like they may not go as crazy as they could and should, and
I
they for
understand.
sure they for sure got the resources, but it would be interesting. And the one last shoe, honorable mention, I would say, a Jordan 10. Jordan 10. And obviously one of the key, pieces of the Jordan 10 is all his accomplishments,
Right? Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. They're dope, dope, dope.
and I'm conflicted in this because it's like that's one of the dopest things about the shoe, but you really can't see it. But I would love for that to maybe acknowledge maybe the first 10, sub brands of Comme on the bottom of that shoe.
That'd be dope. No,
You know
that's a
what I
good
mean?
idea. That's a
It's
good
18 plus brands, so you can't fit all of them into it.
idea.
But again, like that was that kind of interesting shoe, right? Because he was playing baseball when that shoe. Well, actually, no, I take that back. That was a 9, excuse me. But he wore the 10 as he was coming back, right? So it wasn't necessarily adopted like the rest of them. I feel like it definitely is a forgotten model in something that he did play in. Kind of sneaky comfortable too. People really came out for the steals over the past year, so I think it would be kind of cool to see what CDG cooks up with that. So those would be my 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's
Yeah,
valid.
yeah. So I know you all enjoyed this episode.
Absolutely.
I know you did, but this is what I want you all to do. I want you all to reach out to us.
Excuse me.
Leave comments below in our posts and let us know what are some of the CDG models that you all would like to see from a collaborative perspective. Talk
Please,
to us.
please.
Please let us know. Let us know. And this probably won't be the last time that we cover, CDG stuff, just because we love it so much. So, but, Royal, I want to pass it over to you because I know you got something on your mind that you want to speak on. I know you want to state your claim. So
Absolutely.
the floor is yours, man.
All right. Absolutely. So, you know, every episode might be me, might be Gatsby, might even be you. But everyone's going to get a chance to get something off their chest.
Right.
You know, in this episode, I got something to get off my chest.
Okay. Talk to him.
All right. So, as many of you know, as we reflected on earlier, Ray, cool combo, she didn't attend fashion school. And it seems that a lot of, nowadays that when people get certain positions in the fashion world, people like to downplay the person or they like to talk shit about the person because they didn't go to fashion school. We live in a world nowadays where you don't need to go to fashion school to be great. See Virgil. Who knows? Maybe you might be making music first. See Pharrell.
Mm.
We have a young kid who made, I'm not sure if it's 54 or 58 million. I forgot the number, but it's somewhere between 54 and 58 million dollars in 2024. I'm talking about Clint.
Mm.
He ain't go to fashion school. So either you got it or you don't. Either the people like it or they don't. It doesn't matter what your background is. Do they need the people who went to fashion school to do the actual sewing, do the actual pattern making? Yes. But do you need to go to fashion school to lead the troops? No, you don't. Because there's plenty of people who can show you that you don't need it. So just because someone got the dream job that you wanted and they didn't take the same path that you did, it doesn't mean they're not good at it. Hey, I know plenty of people who are straight A students who work for someone who had a C average. Probably your boss at work right now. As a matter of fact, if your boss is 50, they might not have even went to college.
Shit.
So, with that said, it is what it is. Either you got it or you don't.
Right.
End of story.
End of story. All right. Well, listen, you don't got it off your chest. I'm
Got
just
it
let
off.
that. Listen,
Got it off.
that's the Royal clear out. You know what I mean? Like we give him the ball and we know he gonna deliver for us in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you for that. Certainly the next episode coming up, you're all gonna expect a lot of cool things. There's gonna be times where it's just the two of us. We're gonna have some very special guests.
Yeah, it's coming up very soon.
you know, just when you think that, y'all figured us out, we're going to be doing something else. We're going to keep this, exciting and fresh. But, reach out to us, let us know who you would like to see, join the show. Let us know about topics that you're interested in. And look, let's just have fun with it. You don't have to tear people down. Like, again, let's build community in this. Let's have fun with it. And, you never know where you can take it. So with that being said, state your claim. The first of many. It's been real.
Yep. And as I always say, if you like something, you're dick riding. If you don't, you're hating. So do you.
Do you. Do you. Who cares?
Yeah, man.
All right, man.
Man, Gatsby. Later.
Royal. My guy. Always.